Shabbat Shalom. Shema Yashrala Yahweh Allah Yahweh Achad. Shema Yashrala Yahweh Allah Yahweh Achad. Shema Yashrala Yahweh Allah Yahweh Achad. Baruch Yahweh, Baruch Yahweh Shai, Baruch Yahweh, Baruch Yahweh Shai, Baruch Yahweh, Baruch Yahweh Shai, Bahashem HaKodash. I want to give double honors to our elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone who rule well. And I also want to say peace and blessings, health and wellness to the house of David the elect. I was a high spirit wind Judah. And today I want to go into a topic which is uh, another installment, all right, another edition, all right, called Wisdom's Four Virtues. All right, because in Wisdom of Solomon in the 8th chapter, all right, King Solomon goes into what? Wisdom's four virtues. Now, if you go into something on Google called the four cardinal virtues, it'll most likely take you back to Benjamin Franklin. All right, it'll most likely take you back to Benjamin Franklin, and he'll be credited, all right, for coming up with the four cardinal virtues, all right, which is a lie, because he got this from Wisdom of Solomon, the 8th chapter, where it speaks about the four virtues of wisdom. And what are the four virtues of wisdom? All right, the four virtues of wisdom is prudence, justice, temperance, and fortitude. Prudence, justice, temperance, and fortitude. And today, in today's installment, I want to go into prudence. Okay? Now, what does the word prudent mean? All right? It's from the Latin prudentia, which means foreseeing. All right? It's a combination of two elements. Pro means before, all right? Or two, all right? Vidata, which means to see, all right? All right, pro vidata. That's where we get the word prudent from. That's where we get the word provide from. Provide literally means to foresee. So you gather resources or means based off what you foresee. And give me 1 second. I want to get a drop of water or a drink of water. I want to put my phone down on my lap. There's roughly there's about 28 scriptures within the Bible, all right, including the Apocrypha that goes into the word prudent or prudence. Okay, there's about, like I said, 28 scriptures, and one scripture that comes to mind that a lot of brothers and sisters may be familiar with is a prudent man looketh well to his going. All right, this is a virtue that's not talked about in Babylon. It's not taught in your schools. It's not even taught in these so-called churches, because one of the byproducts of Babylon in this consumerism, all right, is that you're just impulsive and instinctive, all right, and you're spontaneous because you're reacting to all these stimulations, or all this stimuli in Babylon that just makes you very, like I said, impulsive and weak natured, all right? Reacting like a child. And you never use your mind to make sensible decisions, all right, based on what's convenient in the long run. You just react off what Esau dangles in your face, okay? But an important virtue, one of the virtues of wisdom, is prudence, which means to foresee. Like it says in the scriptures, a prudent man looketh well to his going. Okay, a prudent man looketh well to his going. All right, it's it's very prudent. All right, it's very prudent to know what you need ahead of time. All right, going back to one of the other installments that was done, being economical. It just so happens that one of the synonyms for prudent is being economical, being frugal. All right, in order to, all right, be frugal, you have to foresee what you need. All right, so in order to work within the budget, you have to foresee what you need for your household. All right, it takes prudence. You have to foresee, all right, that you're running low on tissue. You have to foresee that you're running low on water. So instead of waiting till you run low or run out, all right, you will see that you're dwindling in numbers when it comes to your resources that your house need, and you go and take the means and restock. You buy and you stock. All right. Someone is frugal. I'm sorry. Someone is prudent. They'll foresee that they could get more. All right. If they get everything in bulk for their house, such as tissue from say Costco or Sam's Club, such as water from Costco or Sam's Club. All right. That's an act of prudence. All right. That makes you a good manager. All right. This mindset within the jobs that a lot of us work for, when it comes to inventory stock. All right. It takes prudence, the ability to foresee. All right, to avoid conflicts or confrontations. If you know ahead of time, all right, it takes prudence to say we're not going to go to this particular bar because somebody always getting killed. All right. It takes prudence to sort of foresee things. Now, you can develop prudence two ways. You can develop it through your experiences and learning from your experience and developing the mindset or the ability to foresee things based off your experience, all right? Or you can have prudence as a gift from Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai. Now, a fool can experience things a million times and never develop the virtue of prudence because he never learned or reflected on his experience, all right? All right? But an important virtue, all right, of wisdom, one of her offsprings is prudence. It tells you in Sirach, the 10th chapter, that a prudent man looketh well to his going. I'm sorry, that's not Sirach 10th chapter. It tells you in the Sirach, the 10th chapter, that the government of a prudent man is well ordered. The thing that makes him prudent is that he foresee what he needs for his kingdom. All right? Some examples of prudence was Joseph, all right, the king of Egypt, having a dream about the fat cows and the skinny cows, all right, and Joseph interpreting that dream that Egypt would go 7 years in a famine. So that king implemented the act of prudence, all right. The act of prudence was implemented where Egypt stored, all right, for the incoming impending famine. That's an act of prudence. Sometimes we talk about, storing for power outages. Your granddad or grandma was prudent when they stocked up on candles. All right, back in the day, they got a kerosene lamp. They may have had an extra gas tank with gasoline. That's a prudent mindset. All right. Once again, going back to Egypt, it was an act of prudence to stock up on food when you didn't need it. All right, foreseeing there will be a famine coming ahead. All right, speaking of spiritual famine, it'd behoove us and it'd be prudent of us to store up on wisdom as a strength. All right, for that spiritual, all right, for that spiritual storehouse in the time of famine in which it's not going to be available. Wisdom is not going to be available on YouTube. All right, in the time of panic, people are gonna need comfort, and wisdom will comfort us, man. Because just like in Egypt, we stored up on wisdom, all right, ahead of time, as opposed to living carelessly. Then when chaos breaks out, you're looking for what? Comfort. Okay, it's an act of prudence to know, all right, that every week Shabbat is gonna come, all right, and you already have food in your house that you don't have to cook, such as cereal or things for a smoothie. All right, it takes prudence to already know what's going to inevitably happen every week. All right, it takes prudence to know as a man your weakness, and every day or every week you're gonna have these same temptations and face these same temptations. All right, that you succumb to, and it takes prudence to have a countermeasure to know what's going to inevitably happen. That you're going to face these same temptations and same weaknesses, man. All right, maybe not to the point of being perfect, all right, and conquering things, but at least mitigating those things, whatever it may be. Or you may ultimately conquer it. It tells you if that right hand offend thee, cut it off. But it takes a foreseeing man to already know his own nature and to be honest with himself and make the proper means, all right, to conquer, all right, the weaknesses within the nature of his flesh, all right, or having something to counterbalance it, to balance you out, to keep you from succumbing to the same weaknesses. All right, it takes prudence, man. It takes prudence, all right, to set your alarm clock so you can be at work on time. All right, it takes prudence. Once again, a powerful virtue is the ability to foresee, man. All right, and that's something that the Matrix doesn't tell you. And if you notice, Jake is very imprudent, man. Jake is the opposite of prudent. Jake does things without foreseeing the outcome and then regrets the outcome because Jake is not a prudent species. Jake is not a prudent nation, man. All right, Jake doesn't think ahead, man. All right, that's why it tells you that a man, basically, long story short, a wise man is considerate. He's circumspect and he considers the outcome of his actions, but Jake doesn't. All right, they'll do some illegal shit, but then they'll run from the cops, shoot at the cops because they fear going to prison. They can't do those 10 years. Why the hell you doing illegal shit? All right, at least know. Look, shit, if I get caught, I already know what it is. But Jake just so primal and childish. Like they don't understand that they cause their own effect. And Eve is the same way. Like if Eve was prudent, all right, she would know that the men she brings in her life are not stable. All right, she knows the men that she brings in her house, her life, all right, they're not going to create something that's conducive to building a family. Eve don't care about this shit. Yet she goes on national platforms and complain about what? Jake. All right. But it takes prudence, all right, to really live, man. All right, that's a virtue of wisdom. That's the offspring, a byproduct of wisdom is prudence, to foresee and act on and to make, what's that word? Being proactive. To foresee and proact as opposed to react. You're proactive, not reactive. All the power is in being proactive. The power is in prevention. That's the power. You're a leader, all right? If he's prudent, all right, then that's going to save your account a lot of different problems, all right? Another act of being prudent, all right, is having counselors, man, all right? The scripture says that reason go before every enterprise and counsel before every action. So instead of being impulsive, all right, you're being prudent and you take counsel to make sure you're making the best decision for an action that you haven't committed yet, all right? It is always good as a man to have a counselor that you trust. Every brother's power and virtue is not on camera. Some brothers are very pivotal, all right, very important within the camp based on how they actually help brothers in real time, the brothers around them, okay? But another characteristic of being prudent is a man who's a man of counsel, all right, a man who takes counsel and act on that counsel, all right? You have to be a man of counsel. I looked up examples of prudence, all right, on Google. And it said an example of prudent, it gave me 3 examples of being prudent. It said budgeting your money. It says thinking before you speak. And what was the last one? I want to say uh, budgeting your money, thinking before you speak. And I want to say it was taking counsel. But those were 3 examples of being prudent. All right? Budgeting your money. No, it was budgeting your money, planning ahead. That's what it was. And thinking before you speak. Those are powerful traits. Never thinking before you speak. Reminds me of Sirach, the 23rd chapter, where the prayer, it was within the prayer, all right, who will put a watch over my mouth now? All right? Self-control. All right? But knowing the proper time to speak, that takes temperance and prudence. Because it's one thing to know, but it's another thing to have the discipline to act off that knowledge. All right? But that goes into another installment, which is temperance, which means what? Self-control or self-restraint. All right? But before you can implement self-control, you have to have the foreseeing ability to know what to cut on and cut off and know what to monitor and to regulate. So the first virtue of wisdom is prudence. You see? All right? And this, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashim Shai, all right? It's been on me in the spirit, all right, to just meditate on being prudent and to just study my errors and my own personal ways and, you know, implement ways that help make me more efficient as a leader, as a man, all right? Another example of being prudent is knowing what the weather's going to be like the next day and just dress for that weather, all right? And another example of being prudent, and sometimes you may get lazy or forget, is charge your phone up before you leave the house. You know, have your phone charged up the night before, and you wake up to a fully charged phone. Especially if you work in a situation where you just, you can't be around your phone or whatever it may be, just need your phone. All right, those are simple acts of prudence. All right, you got certain men that I know personally, they pretty much have an idea of what the weather's gonna be like weeks from now, because they plan ahead for certain events and they check the weather, how the weather is supposed to be. All right. Hence forecast. All right. Just thinking at the word forecast is like you're casting a forehand. All right, you know what the weather's gonna be beforehand. All right. But that's an act of prudence. I'm only assuming that's what forecast means. I will have to look it up, but just knowing what the weather's gonna be like beforehand. So those men have a trait of being prudent, man. That foreseeing ability, and that's the trait of a real man. All right, knowing what he's about to walk into. All right, looking at what his family needs ahead of time. That's a trait of a real man. All right, foreseeing. It's a trait of a leader. Foreseeing what his kingdom needs, his family needs, what he needs. Foreseeing ahead of time and making the proper means to take care of those things. Because if you notice in Babylon, when you don't buy things ahead of time, you spend the most money. All right, it's the most consequential when you do things off of that need at that time as opposed to foreseeing it. Meal prepping is a form of being prudent, and it's more cost effective than meal prep. You see, these are simple things, all right, that you can just implement into your life. All right, that will make your life easier and it'll take stress off you. It'll free up some of your time in Babylon, man. All right, being prudent. And on the more severe level, it'll save your fucking life, man. A prudent man what foreseeth the evil and hide himself, man. And we're being prudent by staying in the spirit of prophecy. All right. And we already know what's going to happen ahead of time in the hour of temptation. We already know what's going to be forcibly implemented. It's going to determine if you could live it on the grid or not live on the grid. And ultimately, whether you might live or die. But we foresee what these things are we foresee what's coming. And we make the proper means to the spirit of Yahweh Bashmal Shai to spiritually hide ourselves or to spiritually prepare ourselves and equip ourselves. Hey, but with that, I hope you brothers and sisters were edified. Once again, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakudash. I also want to give double honors to our elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and blessings, health and wellness to the house of David the elect. Hey, Abba Baal, Kamasha'Allah, Shalom.